Hello, welcome to the Single African Market Program, the only program across the entire continent of Africa that brings you every activity and all actions from the Secretariat of the AfCFTA here in the commercial capital of Africa, Accra, Ghana. Now, we began this program somewhere the 25th of July 2021, following a lot of calls by the continent and its people that indeed they want some platform where they can access all information, everything that is happening around this vision. Where can they hear that from? How can they see that? So we decided to bring you this program so that you get to know every step of the way what is happening as far as this vision is concerned. This week, we're going to recap all the things that we have brought to you since we began the program from the 25th of July 2021, and most of the things that had been done even prior to that, we are going to recap all of that for you to follow. In case you missed any of that, you are going to get the opportunity to listen and watch all of that, because we are starting the year vigorously. Next week, thereabout, we are going to launch the Pan-African Payment and Settlement Systems. And after that, a whole lot of stuff is going to follow. But before then, let's take you back to 2021 and everything that ensued over there. We began the first episode of the Single African Market in the last week of July 2021, looking at the essence of the African integration agenda. There was a call to assess the impact of COVID-19 on Africa's SMEs.
And that's why I call it all stakeholders to come together and have platforms, including through the media and through youth-led organizations, so that we're able to amplify this message.
A former deputy AU chair called for effective education as key to Africa's integration agenda.
Their readiness will depend on their education. So at the AU, we begin to insist on enumerates and illiterate. If you look at the countries that have made great leaps and bounds, Korea, China, the rest of it, they began by free compulsory education for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's important that you have the situation where the political class, all of them agree with that agenda.
A professor of African studies called for development of border communities, while a legal advisor urged the formal sector to take the informal sector along in the African integration agenda.
And AfCFTA is a classic example. It's always put in a category of its own, that AfCFTA is a place that is attracting people from other countries who are not really Ghanaians and so on. So it is seen as a problem, instead of looking at it in the opposite way and saying, well, actually, AfCFTA is an example of how a kind of regional integration from below actually works.
For the informal sector, often it may look like a celebration by the government, something from afar, and we need to do more about that. We need to sensitize our private sector, both formal and informal.
The National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, held a joint sensitization workshop on the AfCFTA to empower metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies to harness opportunities under the AfCFTA.
It is critical that we are starting now at having these conversations at the local level so that we can see what it is that we can do to transform and help implement the Continental Free Trade Area.
When we started trading, the question that came up is, come 1 year, come 2 years, come 3 years, how will Ghana be judged? Is it by the number of meetings like this we hold, or by the number of companies and traders who are trading?
You talk about industrial parks, it becomes only a dream for many districts. But these are things which should be ready if we are preparing ourselves for after.
Key personalities at the front line of the AfCFTA implementation highlighted its benefits to Africa's COVID-19 recovery and general economic growth, particularly among SMEs.
The rules of origin will tell you how we can bring in goods into the country, or how we can take out goods out of the country.
32 municipalities or districts that shares borders with neighboring countries. They deal more with these neighboring countries than within AfCFTA brings this opportunity to them.
The bust of the champion of AfCFTA and former president of Niger was unveiled at the AfCFTA Secretariat in Accra.
The remarkable work he undertook as the leader and champion of the AfCFTA, and also for his efforts at helping to address the security and humanitarian challenges facing the Sahel. The honor being bestowed on him today is thoroughly well-deserved, and I extend the sincere congratulations of the government and people of Ghana, and the governments and peoples of the rest of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to President Issofou.
And we reveal the handing over ceremony of the AfCFTA Secretariat by Ghana to the African Union Commission, which happened in August 2020.
And we are today handing over a fully furnished and befitting office space in a secured and easily accessible location within the business center of Accra as the permanent secretariat of the AfCFTA.
It is fitting that the Secretariat will have its home here in Accra. Ghana is a historical trading center for gold, cocoa and timbers and other valuable goods, and remains an important center of commerce on the continent and beyond.
The CEO of Ghana Enterprise Agency revealed her outfit's efforts at supporting SMEs financially to take advantage of AfCFTA.
Yes, I think the success of the AfTAC rests a lot with SMEs.
Very
and
much.
So we need to drive that. And so we're not going to sit back. And it's something that we ourselves as institutions are focusing on in terms of what quality products, what are the products you're going to put out there? Almost every district, there is an office.
Okay.
If you go into the district assemblies and you ask for a business advisory center, which is a BAC, or you ask for a BRC, you would see us.
And the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce advised SMEs not to compromise quality to remain competitive under the AfCFTA.
Quality for me is very key. In fact, when you create a market like what we have created, the only thing that can limit your access to the market is how to meet set these qualities. How, that's what we call the non-tariff barriers. And I'm afraid that other countries may use these things to prevent people from entering their market.
Yeah.
So before you make up your plan or you have an idea to export under AfTA, make sure that all the things you need to, put in place. Get in touch with Standard Authority, Food and Drug, if it's food related, that I'm going to do this. What are the basic qualities that I have to meet? If you meet those qualities, you'll be able to price your product very well.
Yeah. The AfCFTA's Secretariat signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with the United Kingdom to strengthen trade facilitation cooperation, particularly along the Abidjan-Lagos corridor.
The Memorandum of Understanding falls into two broad areas of the AfCFTA, namely trade in goods, and in particular customs cooperation, transit, and trade facilitation.
It is in the UK's interest to have a strong Africa trading with one another and being a force for good both within the continent and beyond the continent.
We examine trading and commercial activities at the Aflao border amidst AfCFTA implementation and COVID-19 induced border closures.
Togo musuna kokoye adwuma ansa na yadidi ba esi ababia woni ho chire too much ame come die
Aflao company bi ni antin boy se wa na nyina Togo mu na ye den yetimi kope kakraba ya ma me no mu nyina o moduane na asefo nyina free Togo mu ansa na eba entino border na atu na ma nyama bo aye so aye den bas bebre sisi ase bi mu abedi 3 weeks nyina bosumi wa ati
on entrée de souffrir là où on est maintenant même pour aller au marché pour aller acheter quelque chose il y a pas d'argent même l'eau glacée que on vend l'eau glacée on ne paye pas.
The AfCFTA Secretariat organized a high-level meeting to assess challenges of the Abidjan-Lagos trade corridor in Lomé, Togo, and produced a roadmap to facilitate trade on the corridor.
The success of this region is the success of Africa.
ECOWAS, in collaboration with Auda Nepad, commenced a data gathering project titled ECOWAS Informal Cross-Border Trade, ECOWAS-CBT, on informal trade across the sub-region.
And the programs that we have, ITRSP, informal trade, is how to get a good figures can relate our real intra-regional trade.
The informal sector, I believe, is around between 60 and 80%. If we should get data flows from the areas and add it to the formal sector, it will give us a more holistic picture of the actual trade flows. Custom data is mainly formal because that's where you pay duties. If it's informal, like you have a lady carrying a basket load of tomatoes, you cannot ask the lady to pay duty. Yet there's value in what they are carrying.
The first coordination meeting of heads of regional economic communities RECs on the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, was held in Accra.
At the level of the RECs, as well as the Secretariat, we should jointly fast-track the completion of the Rules of Origin Manual.
His Excellency Wamkele Mene, for your commitment, zeal, and determination to make the AfCFTA dream a reality.
The Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, Wamkele Mene, paid glowing tribute to renowned Nigerian trade negotiator, Ambassador Chiedu Osakwe.
He was the model public servant, quintessential diplomat, champion of the multilateral trading system, and above all, a marvelous human being.
Some trade experts and stakeholders in the haulage and logistics value chain questioned the implementation of the axle load regime across West African corridors, particularly in the wake of the AfCFTA implementation.
There are some unholy alliances between various stakeholders which are engaged in the axle weight, let's call it value chain, and these are creating inefficiencies in the system.
They are overloading their trucks to effectively a wicked level, and this is shown on the road between from Accra to Kumasi and on north, where you get these incredible accidents.
Ghana marketed its trade and investment potentials at the Dubai Expo 2020.
There are close to about 200 countries here representing in this expo, showcasing whatever technologies that they have. Our planning is based on where Ghana started from pre-independence to where we've gotten to currently, and looking at Ghana beyond aid.
The 7th meeting of the Council of Trade Ministers of the AfCFTA was held in Accra.
We submit to the heads of states and to their customs authorities a 90% schedule.
We had a disagreement on cars. We had disagreement on tractors, on trailers. We had a disagreement on components of motor vehicles. And there was a 5th, which I think Kenya, Ethiopia introduced. It escapes my memory.
Oui, absolument. Disons que la principale attente du Gabon, c'est...
Yes, obviously yes. Gabon has met his expectation during the 7th meeting of the Council of Ministers, simply because the main expectation of Gabon is the establishment and implementation of AfCFTA.
Chief Executive of PAPS, Pan-African Payment Settlement Systems, revealed that the PAPS has successfully been piloted in 6 WAMSI countries and ready to be rolled out.
I'm happy to announce that we are now live in the 6 WAMSI countries. So we've been able to do all of the technology work to integrate the central banks. We've been able to we are now doing live transactions between the central banks. And we're at the point where we are now integrating commercial banks and switches within the WAMSI region. And additionally, we are now signaling to the rest of Africa, to the different central banks across Africa, that PAPS is available to connect to these central banks.
ECOWAS sanctioned Guinea and Mali over coup d'etat.
Recent events in Mali and Guinea have undermined democratic governance in our region. ECOWAS, the regional body whose authority I have the honor to be the current chair, is unreservedly committed to maintaining democratic governance in the ECOWAS community. That is why both Guinea and Mali, foundation members of the community, have been suspended from its organization pending the restoration of democratic governance.
According to Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, sanctioned African states, that is Mali and Guinea, will now trade on non-preferential terms with the rest of the countries on the continent following their suspension from the ECOWAS.
Mali and Guinea-Conakry have both been suspended by both the African Union as well as ECOWAS. That means that they cannot participate at our events, they cannot attend meetings, they cannot speak in meetings until that sanction is lifted. From a trade point of view, it means that where there were preferences that we were extending to one another, if Ghana was extending preferences to Mali or Guinea, those preferences now become automatically suspended. And trade will happen with Guinea or Mali. Trade will now happen on non-preferential terms.
President Akufo-Addo addressed 76th UN General Assembly in the US on contribution of AfCFTA and insecurities in the Sahel region as the US Vice President applauds Ghana.
The Africa Vaccine Acquisition Task Force vaccine program, partly manufactured in South Africa, is the single largest and most far-reaching trade transaction since the entry into force of the African Continental Free Trade Area in January this year. Other main preoccupation for us is the cooperation that we have to put together to defeat the jihadist insurgency in the Sahel.
American companies continue to ramp up in Ghana, understanding the significance of the work that they do there to America's economy, much less to the partnership between Ghana and the United States. And they do this also because they have confidence in the government of Ghana and the environment, Mr. President, that you have created.
The AfCFTA Secretariat signed MOU with China to deepen cooperation.
This is a continuation of a very strong relationship between China and the African continent, and also it symbolizes shared common aspirations.
Establishing the expert group is a symbol of our deepening cooperation.
The AfCFTA Secretariat briefed African ambassadors and high commissioners on the then upcoming IATF 2021.
One of the mandates that we have as the AfCFTA Secretariat is to actually assist member states or state parties to boost intra-African trade.
It's important, Excellencies, to provide a platform where we celebrate who we are culturally. What COVID has taught us is that we're human beings. We do need to appreciate each other.
Africa's youth identified as engine of growth for the continent at the 2021 Youth Connect Conference.
I made a commitment to Africa's youth that at the heart of implementation of this agreement shall be young people and women in trade. That is why the partnership that we have with UNDP to develop practical steps for inclusivity of youth and women in trade is so important for the next generation.
It is vital to this end that we continue to maintain momentum towards the full implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Experts touted enormous potentials of AfCFTA at the Africa Investment Summit.
For us in Ghana, industrialization is an important tool in positioning us to benefit from the AfTAs.
This summit is a clarion call to all African country leaders, technocrats, private sector and entire citizenry to collaborate in all development issues for our transformational socio-economic growth in the current world pandemic.
We believe that this ambitious project is absolutely key for promoting inter-African trade.
AfCFTA Secretariat signs MOU with APRM to collaborate on respective mandates.
With this MOU, the AfCFTA Secretariat and the APRM Continental Secretariat agree to collaborate in the various areas that are set out in the Memorandum of Understanding.
With the signing of this MOU, the EPRM takes this opportunity to reiterate our constant availability to the total commitment to support the AfCFTA's Secretariat by availing our tools, processes, and structures to monitor and evaluate efforts made by the CFTA.
Financial experts, schools, SMEs on accessing funds to boost their enterprises.
In most cases, these young entrepreneurs who are starting up do not even keep proper records of their financial performance. They don't also have consistent year-on-year financial records.
National Development Planning Commission and UNDP developed guidelines to help MMDAs implement AfCFTA.
A lot of the well-initiated national programs are not sitting with the district assemblies. You don't find it in their plans, and you don't find a clear response in interpreting these national programs to really respond to their local situations. So today, we bring these two to work over here.
So the CFTA guidelines are a first step. MMDAs need to be capacitated as we move forward in terms of mentoring some of these young entrepreneurs, and in particular the SME sector.
AU border program on barriers to bridges in improving cross-border trade was held in Accra. South African president addressed opening ceremony of Intra-Africa Trade Fair IATF 2021 as 48 Ghanaian small and medium enterprises exhibited at the IATF 2021.
On the 1st of January in 2021, this year, the African Continental Free Trade Area commenced trading, making this trade fair the first to take place since we reached the most significant milestone in our quest for African economic integration.
Ghana's Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs held 2021 summit as Ghana's finance minister announces financial support packages for youth businesses in his 2022 budget.
Supporting the implementation of AfCFTA, the role of youth and green business.
We will build an entrepreneurial nation by aggressively implementing programs that empowers the majority of our young people to employ their God-given talents, to take risks and become job creators instead of job seekers.
African Economic Zones Organization, AZO, held 6th annual meeting on AfCFTA.
Most African countries are using SEZs, or export processing zones, as tools for economic development.
Today, economic zones are considered as one of the most instruments for achieving economic growth, attracting investments, promoting industrializations, and of course, creating jobs.
The Ghana Free Zones Authority and the Ministry of Trade and Industry is in the process of developing the Greater Kumasi Industrial City and Special Economic Zones project.
Deals worth $36 billion was recorded at the IATF 2021 as at 21st November 2021. And so far, about $42 billion has been recorded.
Participants were able to successfully take advantage of the unrivaled business collaboration and networking opportunities to make lasting connections that are already beginning to bear fruit.
As of now, we have about $36 billion in deals concluded at IATF 2021.
We just announced Abidjan as the next destination.
University of Ghana School of Law called for effective integration of legal education under AfCFTA implementation as it held conference on reforming legal education in Ghana and Africa amidst AfCFTA implementation.
It is imperative that our School of Law here at Legon continues to provide the best of legal education which prepares our students to compete favorably on the job market, both locally and internationally.
To promulgation of the Constitution 1992, law has been deployed to direct the socio-economic and political course of our land.
We have a legal education system here in Ghana that has served us well. Lawyers have played significant and critical roles
in our society.
We've had many students from Nigeria, Sierra Leone, the Gambia. The type of legal education we provide is solid enough for these students coming from other countries in Africa to have a firm legal education as a basis and to be able to operate in their countries when they go back and across the sub-region and the continent.
His Excellency Wamkele Mene praises Ghana for its support to the AfCFTA Secretariat and its operations.
Thanking the government of Ghana for the support that has been provided to make sure that the Secretariat takes off to a good start, which it has.
AfCFTA Secretary General congratulates staff for a successful year of 2021 and encourages them ahead of challenging years.
I'm very happy that we have the brightest and the best Africans who are here with us at the Secretariat. In the middle of a pandemic, we have been able to deliver on our mandate and to fully discharge and exceed expectations of what a very, very young Secretariat is able to do.
WTO recommends ways to ease trade bottlenecks in landlocked developing countries.
LLDCs need an effective connection to global markets, and only transit countries can facilitate this.
AfCFTA Secretary General recounts achievements and challenges in 2021 and reveals that 39 countries have ratified AfCFTA so far.
Because of the disruptions to supply chains, last year we had border closures. 42 countries in Africa were either in a full or a partial lockdown and border closure. So it's been very, very difficult. However, at the same time, I've received a lot of support from heads of states, from ministers of trade, from the private sector in Africa, who all of them want to see this happen. All of them want to make sure that this agreement is implemented and that we succeed.
Secretary General Wamkele Mene revealed that Africa will start trading under AfCFTA with current 87.6% negotiated rules of origin in early 2022.
We now have convergence on 87.6% rules of origin on all of those products. That's a remarkable achievement, because what it suggests, what it says, is that you will, from next year onwards, you will be able to say, I'm interested in exporting this product, and you will know with certainty what rule of origin is applicable. In other words, what is the local content requirement, the customs procedures that are applicable.
He said, amongst others, that efficient port infrastructure is critical to support trade among landlocked developing countries.
There's an infrastructure issue. The port of Tema, the port of Lome support landlocked countries in West Africa, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. And so the efficiency of these ports is important.
His Excellency Wamkele Mene also revealed that the AfCFTA Adjustment Fund is expected to be rolled out in 2022 and advised that the continent must ensure peace in 2022 in order to trade effectively.
I would like us to have a fully functional payments and settlement system, a fully functional AfCFTA Adjustment Fund. We will also launch a digital application, a digital app for connectivity of small, medium enterprises. So these are the three main priorities as we go into 2022.
The AfCFTA Secretary General, His Excellency Wamkele Mene, emphasized that the AfCFTA couldn't have had a better host country than Ghana.
Ghana has been a gracious host to the Secretariat. We have support from the Minister of Trade, Minister Alain Thierry Martin. We have support of the President himself. We have support of the business community here. And so I don't think that we could have asked for a better host than Ghana.
So for 24 weeks in the year 2021, we brought you almost all the actions around this vision. And as you may have heard from the latter part of that piece there from the Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, this year is going to be filled with action. A lot of things are going to happen. As I mentioned to you earlier, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement Systems is going to be launched just next week. Following that, a lot will be happening. And we will be on this platform to bring you every bit of the actions that will take place for you to understand where we are heading as a continent, so that you can follow, you can tag along and be able to benefit from the AfCFTA positively. Next week, we're going to come your way with a lot more. That's why we encourage you not to miss this platform. In the meantime, we bring you the schedules of the flights that are leaving the commercial capital of Africa, that's Accra, Ghana, to the rest of the African cities, as well as the weather forecast for all African cities, the AfCFTA party status, as well as the forex rate for the African market. So as always, I try to encourage you, whether you work or not, regardless of your background, once you're a citizen of the continent of Africa, we encourage you to understand the AfCFTA because it will impact on you, whether you like it or not, positively or negatively. And it is important for you to understand it, take advantage of it, so that you can be impacted by the AfCFTA positively. So we encourage you to visit our social media platforms. You can watch almost all the 24 episodes that we aired in 2021 in case you missed any of it, so that you can follow. Make this like a textbook. Don't miss any chapter. Get back to it, get a revision, understand it, see where it is going, and I am sure that you should be able to benefit from it positively going into the future, because this is the new vision. This is the new direction of the continent of Africa, and everyone across the entire continent is embracing it. Professionals alike, non-professionals alike, everyone is embracing it. We will encourage you to continue to tag along with this platform across the entire continent and learn more about AfCFTA. Thank you for watching. I'll see you same time next week.
In the name of great Africa, is the fight and conquer now.